Welcome to the SOMO Village Community Builders series, where we connect with the changemakers of Sonoma County. Today we are here with Andrea Ivy, the founder of Adventure Recreation. So we would love to hear, what is Adventure Recreation and what inspired you to create this?
Yeah, hey everyone. We started almost 14 years ago, and I grew up a gymnast, and it's something that when I think when I was like 9 years old, I was like, I want to open a gymnastics gym. And the cool part is SOMO Fit is right next to us now, and my dream literally was, at 9 years old, you walk into the gymnastics gym, you drop off your child, and then you go walk next door. And in my dream had like a one-way mirror that parents could watch their kids in gymnastics while they do their fitness classes or, be able to work out. So we kind of have that vibe going now, which I'm super excited about. But I grew up doing gymnastics. I loved it. So once a gymnast, always a gymnast. I could literally jump on my hands, walk around. And when I was a kid, wanted to be able to walk anywhere on my hands. So at home, my parents would see me more on my hands than not. So, I need to use the restroom, jump on my hands, walk, and then, just all around the house. And so when I was 14, I started coaching everything from toddlers, and I love teaching all different ages. So toddlers all the way through either preteen and teen girls, and all around from floor, beam, bars, and vault. And my passion grew from there. So I started through high school, was a coach, and then went to Humboldt State University and got my degree in recreation administration. I thought I wanted to work in more of the recreation world of things. So, a rec director for a city-run program, something like that. But everywhere I moved to, I always was a gymnastics instructor. And so it just kind of like kept drawing me back. And so I had this gap job in Redding, California, and was able to just coach some classes. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, can you help us out with some office work? Of course. Hey, can you help us out with a little bit more? And then come to find out that they were not able to continue owning the business and had the chance to take over their gymnastics gym. And that was almost 14 years ago. My daughter was 3 months old when we purchased the gym, which is wildly crazy to take on that adventure. But we did. So we thrived and did amazing things for those first 5 years, grew the program from what it was to a pretty successful, very proud moment for us. And then it was time to move. So our building got purchased out from under us, and really in Redding, there were so many gymnastics gyms in the area. It was pretty flooded. And so we started looking at a few different places that we could move to. So in that time, I had another baby. And so we had 2 littles. And then we were looking at either Bend, Oregon. We were looking at South Lake Tahoe, which we'd all love to live in South Lake Tahoe, but can we afford to live and have a business there? It wasn't so, And so we landed on Petaluma, and coming back, there was 1 gym in the area. Now it's flooded with quite a few more, but we're so excited to be at SOMO and seeing all the littles coming in we do everything. So open gyms, we just ended one just now, lots of preschool age kiddos in there from 10 to 11:30. We've got the afternoon open gyms, 1 to 2:30, kids night outs, birthday parties, classes for gymnastics and for Ninja Warrior. So there's a little background and then a little bit about what Adventure Recreation is.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm so inspired by 9-year-old you walking on your hands everywhere, this whole vision, and so sophisticated to think of the parents' experience and the children. So very impressive.
Totally.
Very amazing, and how that's all come to manifest as well is pretty wild.
Thanks.
And also, I'd love to, because you mentioned, the different types of classes you offer here at Adventure Recreation. And yes, there are many different kind of activities or gymnastics type experiences for children. But I think something that really sets you apart, at least to my knowledge, is that kind of different approach and the Ninja Warrior and these different names you have for some of your classes. So could you speak a little to what that means and what that entails and how that's different?
So we've always really wanted to be child focused. So growing up in a very competitive world of things, it taught me so many things, but it was also very strenuous and not a lot of time to go see friends or go to the movies or even a school dance. And so When we moved from Reading, we had a competitive program, both boys and girls. It was a very competitive driven space, still child-centered, but we ended up saying goodbye to that whole competitive world when we moved from Reading up to Petaluma. And so for the first 8 years, we didn't have a competitive program. We went back to just recreation only. We wanted to try to find every kid out there, and if they just wanted to learn how to do a cartwheel with their friend, if they wanted to swing from the monkey bars, just be the best that they could be with whatever goals that they had in mind. And so we did that for a good 8 years. Now, once a gymnast, always a gymnast. So last year we did 2 years of competitive Excel program, which is a lot more attainable for the multi-sport kiddo. So, if you're going to do all in gymnastics, competitive sport, you might train for 16 hours, 20 hours, even more as you go up the ranks. And that's just something that, sure, there might be some individuals that is a great world for, but for the most part, most kids, that's too much. It's just too much. So we wanted to give the kids a little glimpse of competition, but without all the hours in the gym. So the Excel program does that, and it kind of limits how many hours they can train in the gym so they can play other sports. They can go to school dances. And so we did start Excel semi-recently, but still I'm in that recreation world. So I love our toddlers, our 3 and 4 year olds, and they're doing that mesh between Ninja Warrior and gymnastics, and then everything up from there. So Ninja Warrior to me has all the hanging elements that I think upper body strength is something that we all want to work on. And if any kiddo could come and train with me for a couple years or up until they're 7 or 8 and then go try any other sport, I feel like it's a good foundation to set them up for success for anything else they choose in the future.
That's amazing. And it sounds like at the core, there's a lot of wanting to build skills that are applicable outside of just the gymnasium and where they can actually apply them. And I also wanted to touch on, and I know you mentioned this in your website as well, but that we're in a very device-driven world at this point, and screens, the iPad child. So how does this play in, and how have you noticed an impact in the work that you do with that kind of...
Yeah, lately I have found that many parents are actually calling saying, my kids are on screens way too much. I need to sign up for 7 days a week. What do you have for me? And so we kind of go back to square one a little bit, but I definitely see parents seeking activities like us out, and they're saying it. They're being very verbal about it. I have 2 kids of my own, and we try to keep them off screens as much as possible. So whether they're doing horse or my son is really into baseball, for us it's whatever's in front of them that excites them. Yes, come try us out. Now 7 days a week may be a little too much. Come try 1 or 2 days a week with us, and then go try martial arts or soccer or what drives their passion, because it doesn't have to be gymnastics. That's what excites me. And even the Ninja Warrior, that excites me a little bit, but the gymnastics excites me even more. And teaching toddlers all the way through teens, we all have passions, and I think kids need to try different things to really find out, are they a team sport person? Are they an individualized sport person? Do they need to do it through play? Are they into ball sports or not? And everything in between. But yeah, getting kids off screens is super important. And obviously nothing is powered by screens other than me having a computer up at the front to sign kids in on. But they get to just run and play and use their own bodies to swing and jump and play, which is nice.
That's amazing. And do you have any transformation stories or examples that come to mind of big changes you've seen?
As far as screens go,
or just in general?
Yeah, in general, what we find is there's a lot of shy kiddos out there. Especially I think kind of going through COVID, it was a time that there wasn't as much socialization. And so one thing that we have found is the first time kiddo might come to us, and maybe it's about 1 in 4 kids are very shy. And so they come in and they might have a not so successful class because of it, and we try to educate the parent around it, saying, hey, trying out one time is not going to give them the support they need to keep trying it. And so we ask that they try 3 or 4 times, and then they might start to come out of their shell that little bit. They might start to trust us. It might be the first time that they've been instructed or talked to by an adult that's not their parent. And so I think that that's another thing, is you could be at home, everything feels very comfortable, and as soon as you go to try that first sport, which is usually usually soccer, dance, or gymnastics. That's kind of a common, those three are what parents end up seeking out. And those are the ones that are available for younger kids. And so they come try us one time and they go, oh, my child had a freak out moment or was not engaged or they hid behind me the whole time. And whether that's some screens, whether that's just being at home and not having other adults around. And so we ask everyone, just try again. Little tiny wins is what we're looking for. And just be there for your child to say, it's okay. And Miss Andrea is going to have a lot of fun with you, or whoever the coach might be for you. But just keep at it. And I think that's whether it was screens and my own kids and the experience of that, to just keep pushing them outside of their boundaries and outside of their comfort zones, right?
Yeah, and can you walk us through a little bit of what that process looks like? So for a family, maybe a parent or child, to have that idea of what are they walking into when they first come in?
Yeah, hopefully smiley faces. I really want the vibe for adventure recreation. I feel like I've tried to create this over the many, many years of a very inviting, encouraging environment. Someone that you're going to walk in, you're going to see smiling faces at the front counter. We're going to be able to greet you with whether it's schedules or any other information that you might need. But we're right there hoping to just like engage in the child right away. Mm-hmm. So, if it's Johnny that's taking classes, and they're say 3 years old, I might walk over, squat down and get nice and close and say, my name's Miss Andrea, what's your name? And just trying to engage them as much as possible. And you can tell right away if they need a little bit more space or if they're like ready and, excited. And then we can kind of talk things through. So, hey, Johnny, do you see out here? And I might point, we're going to start with this obstacle course and then we're going to go here, and try to tell them what they're going to expect. And even walking on the floor, we encourage parents to come out on the floor if needed. So, hey, they need, their parent to stand just a couple feet away, or to kind of help them through once or twice, to kind of be near a coach to feel comfortable, and then we'll help them progress from there to hopefully be independent of parents. That is a big goal, is that we want them to engage with a coach and to be able to learn from them. So.
Oh, wow. That sounds very inviting.
Yeah, hopefully.
And for parents who are maybe wanting to look at how they can support their children also outside of this and still implement a lot of these core values that adventure recreation has woven in, how do you recommend they can kind of bring this methodology into their everyday lives?
Oh gosh, I get so much into parenting right there, right? And I mean, thank goodness I have 2 kids. I have that feel and that vibe from there. But my son and my daughter have 2 totally different personalities, and I think that every parent will find that with their own kids. And so my daughter is like a go-getter. She is Miss Independent. She will jump into any situation, almost with a stranger, and be like, "Okay, bye. I'm gonna leave for the weekend." And no, you're trusting in Miss Susie to take me for the weekend. Totally great. Bye. Where my son is like, whoop, like no new people. He needs to observe a lot. And I think taking the time to see what your child needs and, how to best support them. But I think in raising our kids, we want like strong independence, and we want the emotional aspect as well, and the emotional support of what does that look like? What does that feel like to learn from other adults or even teens? Like I have high school students that work for us as well. And I almost find that I'm starting to get to an age where a lot of the kids are looking up to them a little bit more than me, because I'm like now this like old, fuddy-duddy coach. And now it's like the new generation coming in where the 4 or 5-year-olds are all like googly-eyed over Coach Ryan, let's say, because he's doing all these fun tricks and engaging them in a different way. And that's a cool thing too about us, or me as an owner, passing down the torch to the next generation of coaches, and how can I support them to create a nurturing environment, create that community vibe that feels like we've had a couple parents that have said, my kid will only be dropped off here. They feel so comfortable. It feels like their other home. And that's exactly what we want it to feel like. So.
That's amazing. I love that intergenerational reflection you had too of passing on the torch. And
it is. Yeah.
It's so many levels. So you're giving opportunities in so many ways.
Totally. And that's one of the biggest things I feel like I'm transforming into that space.
Yeah.
I wish I could just take every single little tidbit of knowledge that I have and just like throw it at my coaches. But that's where we get to engage, whether it's daily or weekly. And then every 6 weeks we try to have staff meetings, try to pull in members of our community for those staff meetings to get their engagement and their reflection too. But yeah, it's igniting now my staff to take the torch and to keep going. So
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And for any families that are interested in learning more or signing up, where can they find you?
So if you just type in adventure recreation, you should find us. But it's skillmeetswill.com, which is also our slogan, so Skill Meets Will. You can email, text the number, call, and our website has every piece of information on it. So if you're looking for birthday parties, our next kids night out, open gyms, class days and times, everything's on there for you. Hopefully nice and easy.
Thank you so much, and we will have that in the show notes as well. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye, guys.